Everybody looks so happy because they have Dune books. And I hate them all. No, I don't. Just very envious. I'd be the good guy and get shit from my friendly local gaming store version, and of course they're the literal last to get them in the chain. Like at the end, like I have at least another week and a half to 2 or more weeks before I can get mine. It's like, oh, why must doing the thing be so hard? Make it easy for me to be good. Isn't that how this is supposed to work? Must good be a challenge? Is that what? I don't know. I do not know. All right. Well, I'm sure Twitch is cut off by now, so let's kick things off. So, welcome. I am ScottsCaseFiles, and above me are my awesomest players. This is actually episode 6 of the first season of 10 of House Gildrun, season 1. And they've all survived. There's more. There's more. Whether or not, we get to the end of 10 and you're like, I need more abuse from Scott. Actually, that would be like Bedlam Hall. Do you really need another season of that? Nobody does. Not even the players. Even the masochists among the players are like, no, not me. So I get that. But hopefully Dune is different. But yeah, so this is like episode 6. It's impressive. It's good. We put a lot of stuff together. There's so much to experience. I've been so hard pressed to figure out what to do with each session because it's like there's such a Duneverse out there, and it's just difficult to figure out where to put you guys. So I do have a little tidbit for season 2 of Dune House Gildrun that I'm giving out right now, and that is season 2. We'll see the first trip to Arrakis. That's foreshadowing that you will not be there in season 1. I'm sorry, but just putting it out there. Cool. So before we get started, let's introduce my awesomest players of all. We have Tickernome Susan. How you doing, Sue? Then she lets me call her Sue.
I'm doing okay.
No, she doesn't.
Like I said, a bit tired. Had a really busy, lots of socializing this past week, but actually got another playthrough of Dune Imperium in yesterday with 4 people total, and that went really well. I lost. I never do very good at the game, but I really enjoy it and have fun with it.
I was like, did you crush your enemies? Drive them before you? Hear the lamentations of their well-dippers?
I'm looking forward to playing it one day. Just sitting on the shelf in the box.
Sitting on the shelf in the box, that makes you happy. Yeah, it doesn't make me happy. So yeah, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Sorry you're tired. Let's get that caffeine going on. Let's get that hit of adrenaline going. We'll see what I can do. And since Steve opened up, what's going on, Steve? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Nothing going on. I grilled a bunch of stuff yesterday, and it was good.
Nice. Hopefully it's tasty.
Meatloaf, all sorts of things.
Oh, man. Now you're bringing food into the occasion here. Oh, gosh. Well, awesome. Excellent. Let's see. We have Danielle also.
I'm back.
Yay! She's back. Notably absent last week and missed the massacre over the first Harkonnen. Oh well, there will be more. Maybe. So yes, awesome. Welcome back, Danielle. Good to see you. And last but absolutely not least, we have the Jonathan. How are you doing, Jonathan?
The Jonathan, yes.
The Jonathan.
So this is going to morph into a Highlander AU, right?
Oh, and it's interesting you say that because I've been mulling over doing another a Cortex Prime hack of Highlander. Been working on that for some time. Well, it was on my back burner for some time, but I actually did, and please don't laugh at me. I did do a hack of Vampire Diaries for Cortex Plus, and I've seen every single episode.
What you want.
You hack what you saved somewhere.
Yes, all the way from the Google Plus days.
Yeah, I would absolutely play a Highlander anything. That's like one of my, it's not even a guilty pleasure. I freely admit, yeah, That's a fun universe.
Has potential. Does it? So on that note, before I forget, I've been really good lately. It's been reminded me by players that I've been not forgetting. Let's do the intro video real quick, and we'll come back and get into things. It's gonna be interesting.
A secret report from within the Spacing Guild. A prescient nexus has been discovered surrounding a house minor. There are so many possibilities that we have no vision. A 4-stage navigator was sent to Orbot to investigate. It is a house of entertainers, actors, dancers, and yet they also trade in secrets and favors. All prescient roads lead to one place for this house minor. Arrakis, home of the Spice Melange. The observation of House Gildrun continues.
Alrighty. So yeah, that's the intro. So let's do the thing. As I was kind of talking to the players before we started the stream, I am just jumping in that water with both legs, or how's that saying go? Yeah, you know what I mean. Getting in there, no turning back, doing the big thing. So there's me so much going on. I'm interested to see how long this takes. How many sessions we're talking about here? I don't know, but I'm bound and determined to give it a try. Put Modiphius' game to the test, and my skills wars therein, of which I'm still working on, to be quite honest. But yeah, we got that. So let's start off with let's see here. Anaya. Yes, I did not kill off Anaya in the last session. She is alive. Yeah, Susan was like, kill her. Just kill her off. I'm like, no, darn it, Susan. No, we don't do that.
Only one diva.
There can be only one, which circles us back around.
It's going to be survival of the fittest.
On Wednesdays, we wear steel suits.
Anaya, you were not part of this team, as it turns out, when kind of Gildrun was doing its all-on avalanche of activities against House Harkonnen. It was deemed that you belonged somewhere else. So you're in another squad. While these three were taking out a old friend of the Baron, you were with another squad. In fact, one with let me see, what was their name? My notes. There it is. Nadine. Nadine was part of this group. Originally, you were basically going in. You're going into the house of a nascent house that owes its fealty to House Harkonnen, House Nestor. And you went in as an actual Gildrun troop that was looking to, take out targets of opportunity if possible, but otherwise you're basically were there to gather information and get some intelligence. The thing you were briefed was the head of the house was basically was a mentat that served a previous Baron, House Harkonnen. and was given the ability to kind of form their own house. It's on their house holdings are on Giedi Prime, a small patch of Giedi Prime, and it's like an industrial complex, not like basically getting raw materials from the ground, what's left, and that kind of thing. And it's a nascent house, so it's not even a house minor at this point. It's like all of like a generation old, a generation and a half, 2 generations old. So what ended up happening was, the last you saw, you basically saw your friend Nadine. She was taken out by a dart. She fell like a bag of rocks. You turned to react and were immediately also just rendered unconscious. All you remember was like this fuzzy feeling, and feeling like you were floating and just floating in air. And then suddenly there's this crack feeling on the back on your head, as reality gave a little last jab before it basically put you under. So Inaya, you wake up and you're in a chair, which you're restrained to. And this is not just a normal chair. This is like what you see in basically like a torture studio. You're restrained on various fronts. Your head is even pressed back with a metal bracket against the back of the headrest. And you open your eyes, and you're just in this, the room is dark, things are kind of still fuzzy, but you're slowly putting things together. Again, Inaya being a Bene Gesserit, she's not Reverend Mother level where she could easily, metabolize any of this stuff at the moment, but you're definitely aware of like, okay, so I feel some, your skin feels humid over here, but not over there. Maybe there's like an open door, that kind of thing. Otherwise you see darkness, and you see the proverbial, well, not proverbial, the, what's the word I'm looking for, where it's standard in all these situations. You see the big bright light coming out of you, and that's shining in your eyes and attempting to blind you. And as you open your eyes, the light kind of moves itself out of the way, so it's like interposed between you and another figure who's seated in a normal chair, not a torture chair. And they look to be a very old man. We would, in present day type terms, we would call this person, they look maybe 80 or 90 years old, easily. Their face is kind of weathered and cracked. The lips are stained, and the little capillaries around their mouth burst, giving you the sure sign of a Safu addict. And you kind of see this figure lean forward, and it's like, I'm thinking of removing your gag, but first I want to talk. Just kind of, I know you can't make much motion with your head, but try to nod if you understand me, if you're amenable to hearing my speech first.
As much motion as I can, I will nod.
Yeah, and just as he kind of...
Oh, and actually before that though, with my passive scrutiny, what is the weakest point in my bindings?
The weakest point would probably be, I'm thinking it's your head.
Okay.
It should have been put down better, but it was like this person wanted you to be able to have some kind of movement, to look around a bit and that kind of thing.
Okay. So then I won't, I'm not going to give up the game that I have more movement there than I probably should. I will only incline my head as much as I think that this person probably thinks that I actually have.
He's like, good. So let's get started. I just want to get you in the proper frame of mind first. And you see he has this kind of oblong thing with buttons and whatnot on it. And you hear this from kind of like behind him, you hear this low humming. And he kind of like manipulates the levers and buttons, and kind of in the split second that your eyes are actually focusing on him in this kind of darkness, suddenly there's something like right in front of you. And you know from your training that is a hunter seeker. It's
I hold very, very, very still.
yes. So the thing is, it's smaller than the movie or whatever will allow you to think, but it's a smaller thing. It kills not by poison as one might think, but by traveling up the nerve endings and following them to an important thing like, an organ or the brain, which it then chews up, and that's how you die. And the humming is now quite intense as it's like right near you. The suspender field that holds it up again, is kind of gives it a little bit of a distortion look, almost like a shield, but definitely not. It's not shielded. Those things are not shielded, but they use a Holtzman effect, just the same. Well, not just the same, but the different phase of the Holtzman effect to do their thing. But you kind of see that little bit of distortion. You hear the humming, and you've never been this close to one. You probably have seen pictures of it. You've probably seen like an inactive one. But this one is, from what you can see, is absolutely under the control of the man sitting kind of across from you. Like, back in the days of the old Baron, I used to hold what was, well behind my back, it was colloquially known as the dreaded Mantat security interview. And I've decided it's a good time to revive that. Not everyone survived. In fact, there were quite a few that were ruled out of house service in my interview alone. It's very efficient. Let's just put it that way. But I'm here to talk to you about a deal. And my name is Baronet Alexei Nestor, head of this nascent house which you chose to raid, which you were ordered to raid. I understand. But nonetheless, here we are. Your cohorts are dead, I'm afraid, but I watched you long enough. I watched you long enough to know that you're Bene Gesserit, and I'm interested in talking to you. Do you understand that?
He's got the Hunter Seeker on me, but I know he has it under control. Like, he's controlling it, right?
Yeah, no, so it's like, I would say about 3 centimeters away from the bridge of your nose.
Okay, then like the slightest fractional nod.
Yeah. So now, one thing I kind of want to point out, and this is for everyone watching and players here. So, contrary to popular belief, that would is basically these are it is necessary for a Hunter Seeker to be controlled by someone. So because it can't be a thinking machine, that would be against the Great Convention. This is actually a Great Convention approved assassination device. 2, it has to be controlled by a person from relatively nearby. This control console has to be near. There's no such thing as controlling this from orbit or relaying it or anything like that. That's part of the limits of the science and basically part of the rules of the Great Convention too. Also, yeah, and because it's controlled by somebody, it's not. The Dune book kind of alludes like, oh, if I don't move, it can't hurt me. And it sure can. The only reason it didn't hurt Paul in the book was because things were rather dim in the room, and it needs an abundance of light to get detail on what's going on. So movement makes that detail possible, or at least, it's able to sense that movement through the interface and then direct the user. So just so you know, this is not out of anyone's control. It only moves if the controller tells it to, etc. And if just because you're in dim light right now does not protect you. It's just especially since he's right here, the controller. So on that, we'll hold there. So let's see here. So Reza. So you're the interesting one here. I have plans for you, but I want to, as game master, I want to ask you what you would like to do. There are 2 options, or actually, yeah, I suppose actually 3 options for you for this session. One is to kind of exercise Reza's kind of acting abilities and going in as a spy, basically impersonating a Harkonnen official, and entering with a small entourage, which you've kind of successfully mastered so far in this campaign. So there's that. Second, there's gonna be some fighting outside. if Reza is interested in being part of that, and we can say that the house is kind of pushing her in other directions, testing her, that would be it. And third, we can have you control a what do you call it? What the heck is it called? Supporting character in a fight. So I would like to ask you what you would prefer to do.
Could you repeat that? Like our internet, something happened weird there, and I didn't catch what you said on that last one.
Oh, the last one is playing a supporting character. The system basically has the idea where you basically can play a minor NPC and you control them for the time when, like, we're like in times where like your character doesn't fit in a scene, but we want to get you in a scene, that type of thing. So those are the three main options. And I'll let you choose whatever you like.
Let's go with the supporting character. I'll play that this time.
Okay, all right. So let's create a supporting character. We haven't done that yet. Let's see here. Can I bring up my notes? So this supporting character will be let's call this guy Sergeant David. An old contact of Jindo's. So let's see here, and I'm going to have you're going to basically create them. You're the first person to do it. The idea of the supporting character is we're going to create this character now, and then we're going to kind of put them away. And should they ever need to come out, like we can't fit someone into a scene and we really want someone to be there, that person, not necessarily you, could be anybody, takes that character, and boom, we get the player involved in a scene where the player doesn't have to sit on their thumbs waiting for something more appropriate to happen in a scene or a session, that kind of thing. Okay.
Okay,
cool. Right.
sounds good.
I sure want to make sure you understand. So let's see here. So you'll have a single trait. This will be like soldier. I think that's quite fair. That's exactly what they're going to be. That's the role they're going to be performing for us.
So am I getting another sheet, or how are we building this?
I'll paste everything into the chat, and then I'll build them into the World Anvil next time. But for now, for the sake of getting this going and whatnot, we'll do this. So, all right, now we have drives. Let's see here. And I'm going to have you kind of create the rest. So minor supported characters do not have any drive scores. Instead, they have a single drive rating, which ranges from 4 to 8, which is added to their target number, instead of a drive for any test. Of a drive. I think that must be a mistype there. This can be thought of as comparable to their duty drives. It represents how effective or dutiful they are. They have no drive statements. Most minor supporting characters, which this is, have a drive of 5 to begin with. So that's probably what we'll start with here. Let's see here. If they serve the secondary domain of the house, this may be 6. Of course, this does not in this case. Let's see here. So we'll start this with 5. So drive of 5. Skills. I should have kind of looked more at that. So so minor supporting characters have 1 skill ranked at 6, which would be the one most relevant to their job. 2 ranked at 5. And 2 ranked at 4. So I'm going to say battle is definitely the highest, but I'll have you pick the others for skills. So for skills, let's see, we have... Where is it? Here.
You said battle at 5.
Battle will be the main one. So let's see, communicate, discipline, move, and understand. All right. So let's see here. So the skills ranked at 6 is the most important. So that's battle. So I was gonna put a 6 there, and I'm gonna have you pick the rest as you like.
I'm thinking.
What do you think?
Move. I'm thinking move and communicate both at 5, and then what were the other numbers?
Let's see. Hold on. And then the last two at 4. So that's discipline and understand at 4. That work? Or do you want to switch any of those around?
I think I'm okay with that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. Discipline, understand. Perfect. And then let's see here. Focus. You have a skill at 6. So what focus do you want for that? For battle?
You said I could only have one drive.
Yeah, so you're instead of having the list of drives like you do, supporting characters just have one number. So like it's basically 5 is their drive.
Okay, so it's 5 for everything.
Yeah, so it's just consider that their only drive period. It's their duty, their dedication to whoever they're following, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So now you just need to pick let's see, a battle focus. So that can be anything from strategy to an actual weapon type that they like to use, etc.
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay, we can come back to that. Let's see. So let's see. Let's see. So talents. Perils grants any special benefit to a type of minor supporting character. Such bonus how troopers. I don't believe we have. These take the form of talent, but otherwise, basically, they don't have talents. So, all right. So we've already come back to do what the focus is for battle. So how should they fight? How do they like to fight? What do they use, or or strategy or something?
I'm looking at this like a slow pellet stunner, maybe.
Ooh, nice stunner. Perfect. All right. Cool. I'll put that in our Discord chat.
I'm typing this stuff into the Roll20 as well.
Yep, I see it there. Excellent. Cool. All right, awesome. All right, so for this time at least, you're playing Sergeant David, and we'll see where you go from there. I'm going to bring you in with Castian. So bear with me as we kind of bring both of you in the same time. Castian, actually, you know what? I should probably start with Jiddo. I kind of started with you, Reza, because I wasn't sure which way you were going to go, and if you'd gone like for the spy thing or like the infiltration thing, you'd have been next. So, but hold tight. Now that we have Sergeant David created, I'll be coming back. Jindo, you are basically going to be the strategist finally. Kind of where you've been aiming for. What's going on is what you guys know is the team that went in there failed, and there's reason to believe there's reason to believe at least one of them is alive, but likely they're all dead. So basically, the idea is go into this I would say like a minor headquarters of House Nestor, and get basically the information you need, basically a bunch of Shigawire recordings that are supposed to be housed there. And then secondarily, if you can find anyone, that's great. But your primary mission is the recovering Shigawire. And those are kept like in a vault inside the place. To give you an idea, basically you have like it's not the headquarters of the house, it's the headquarters for this area of House Nestor, again, nascent house of House Harkonnen, basically tasked with the their holdings are mining, basically, getting the essential ores and minerals from the ground to then make other cool things industrial wise. But it's basically just a dead zone. Haven't been trees here in centuries because mining cuts off all the roots. Basically, they don't really care about how the water flows and all that. So it's very muddy. It's very rocky, and there's like heavy equipment everywhere. So basically, as part of this incursion, you and Castian and Sergeant David are being sent down on crushers. 2 of them. Crusher is a guild ship. These in particular are pretty small, actually, as compared to the huge troop carriers. But the idea is they are one bigger unit. As they're descending onto the planet, they disassemble, and then they fall on enemy fortifications and troops and murder them, basically, and destroy them. The troops then leave and do what they need to do and return to be lifted off at a later time from the same crushers. So if this was like a large incursion, this would be incredibly expensive. A whole 2 ships like this, 2 small ones like this, is still kind of, Jindo understands the idea of the costs of things within the Landstar, and this is rather expensive too. So what the other team didn't succeed at must be really important to what House Gildrun wants. But I do want to point out to both Jindo and Castian, this is way overboard for just getting back because of what they did. This is weird. There has to be a bigger picture. Otherwise, you're questioning their entire judgment on this. This is way too many resources to expend on jabbing the House Harkonnen back. This is way overkill. So either someone's gone money crazy or insane, or there's a bigger picture you're not seeing yet, and that's on purpose. Because you don't have to.
That makes sense. Would we know the previous team's mission? Like, did they have the same mission as us and they just failed and we're the second? Yep. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So there's a vault here with those where recordings are kept, and there's potential targets of opportunity, i.e. people that you can kill on sight if you see them, and there may be some other items in the vault if you're able to get in, that kind of thing. But yeah, your mission is to get into that complex, which again is not the main House Nestor holding. This is the regional one. So I'm assuming I'm trying to give it kind of give you an idea of the size. I would say like the whole place takes up, I would say like 2/3 or 3/4 of a city block size, with several stories tall, and it's all done in like gunmetal black. Armor and that kind of thing. There's likely a small, not a small, but there is a house type shield around it. So for that reason, your people outside at least will not be using las guns, and they'll have to approach on foot, as opposed to like any ornithopters or whatever being lifted off and that kind of thing, and transporting them in is maybe a strategist would think was a better idea. Castian and Sergeant David, you are some of the foot soldiers. I'm going to say that David and Castian are kind of in the same unit for purposes of this adventure. So unless things happen, I ask that you stick together, because I'm already fragmenting myself so much. It's scary and stuff right here. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see how we do. But yeah, so if you could stay together, if there's a real reason not to, then please split up. I'm doing this to myself. I have no one to blame myself. But yeah, do the thing. Stay together if you can. Don't stick together if it's important that you not, and we'll kind of go from there. So as kind of like an overall like out of character player level look at this. We're going to be doing kind of like a one-on-one role play on one side with Anaya and Nestor. We're going to be doing battle strategy, moving of things with Jindo, and then we'll have what's the other one? The smaller version of battles.
Skirmish?
It's called Skirmish. Thank you. And we're going to be doing some skirmish conflicts with Castian and David. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
All right. I will start reading that now.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, conflict. I mean, the skirmish is probably the one we're most, as players of any other game, we're most familiar with. This is, there's basically a basic kind of initiative going on. You'll go back and forth with your enemies as you move from zone to zone, and then so that's like, yeah, you guys have with you guys it's the easy lifting here. The heavy lifting is with Jindo. This is an overall larger battle plan. I'm going to say you have, including Jindo, including your own troops that are your asset, there will be 3 other assets that you will have control over. Keep in mind, my general rule with communications devices, the small ones don't go too far. So there's going to come up, there's basically, and I say this just to clear up anything before we get into it. So for example, Jindo, he's going to be back at the Crusher, won't actually be participating in the battle. He'll have a larger communication unit which can communicate with literally anybody in this battlefield. So whether you're on the battlefield, at the Crusher, or inside the complex itself, Jindos will be able to communicate with you. As you leave the general zones around the area, unless you guys come up with, like, you'll have your personal communicators which allow that kind of communication. Once you go outside of there, you're going to have to spend some momentum to create some assets of what we would assume was like, a backpack sized thing, communications device. And that will kind of get you in those other 2 areas, but kind of keep that in mind as we go. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna probably end up doing what I don't generally like to do, which is draw maps. I'm not a map guy. I'm not sure if you've noticed that, but it's not generally a thing I do. But here, this is unavoidable. So if you guys can indulge me, I'm going to kind of draw up general zones quick for this.
And can I ask a general question?
Absolutely.
How will you be handling momentum?
I'm saying that you're all working together. I mean, Anaya
would have her own pool, or
yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. The game actually doesn't,
and I'm okay with doing one common pool.
Yeah, and again, I think the 2D20 system doesn't account for that kind of thing, like split momentum pools. So we can. I'm just going to assume that we're all going to share one and kind of go from there. And I'll just have you just make sure before you spend any, just ask, "Hey, is this cool?"
It'll just affect, scene switching a little bit in terms of what you consider a scene.
Yeah, there won't be any scene switching. This is like, I mean, it's gonna
one big conflict.
Yeah, due to the mechanics, this is going to probably take a bit. I'm assuming 2 sessions.
1 of 6. Got it.
Yeah, God, stop. So I'm going to assume this is going to take like 2 sessions, but for all intents and purposes, this is a scene. It's like literally going to take place in the space of an hour. This whole
4-part finale to season 1.
4-part finale to season 1. You're going to Arrakis. Yeah, nice try, Jonathan. But all right, so let's see how this pans out. And again, I'm not sure if I said it on stream or off, but like, I don't have anywhere else to kind of test this except like right here with you guys. So we're just going to see if this works, if it's feasible, if it's not, if we should do this again, if we should never, ever even think of doing this again, and Scott should really get his head examined if he ever thinks to do something like this again. But yeah. Arrakis gender killed us. Oh God, Susan, you're killing me. So yeah. All right, so let's do the thing. I'm gonna move us over to Roll20, and let's go ahead and let's create a new page. And again, I probably should have prepared a little better by bringing, tokens and stuff. But we're gonna do the basics here. So let's see. So I'm gonna say this chair. So pink here is the complex. I'm going to say crushers are down here. And let's see here. Let's create some kind of zones. So for zones, let's do this. So I don't want to make it too complex. But let's go for something like Cha. Zone 1, Zone 2, and then the complex itself is a zone. We'll if should you get in there and we do things, we'll probably break that down into smaller zones, because one of the mechanics is, of course, if you're in a zone, you can affect anything else in that zone, like with an action, a character move, and obviously that doesn't make a lot of sense. We'll probably break from the zone from that. Once you actually get in the complex, assuming you do, we'll probably go down to kind of first person type of not in a conflict anymore. You're just doing stuff, so as not to even worry about that. So yes, so 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, and then zone 3. I'm going to, let's put some stuff down. Let's see here. All right. So let's see here. So these will be your units. Let's see. Uno. Let's copy that. All right. And again, I apologize for my setup. Just want to do the thing. And let's see. Let's make some other units your enemies. So we're going to call these the enemy assets. So let's see. Let's do copies of this one. And then I'm going to have kind of one unit within zone 3. All right. I'm actually going to move it up so that the viewers can see. How's that? All right, that's better. Probably do just a little more. All right, there we go. All right, so those are our zones of conflict. Again, the bottom is zone 1, middle is zone 2, and then the complex itself, zone 3. Any questions so far? Awesome. All right, so I'm going to do my best to kind of jump between you and see how we do. Again, I have no sandbox in which to test this, so you are my sandbox. So I apologize in advance, but let's really give this system a push and see what we get. I'm really curious as to how this works out on several levels. I think they only recommend you like doing one type of conflict at a time, but hell, we're professionals here, or something like that. We're dedicated at least, so we're going to do this. Yes, exactly. Quote unquote. Let me get crapped on a little bit. All right. So we had Naya's scene. Let's go to Jindo. Jindo, I'm going to give you a quick scene to do the stereotypical. That's what I was looking for. Like the reading the troops speech from the battlefield leader. And this will be while you're in the air. The crushers have not yet broken in half to drop on the positions. Don't mean to put you on the spot, but I totally do. Because I hope you've been like I have to imagine that you've had this speech like written up for weeks now, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna roll this baby out one of these days, and it's gonna be so awesome. So now is the time for that. If you did that, if you didn't do that, get good quick.
Get good, Nub. Thanks. All right.
Get good. Nub. You got this.
So yeah, we're basically like we're going in down onto the planet's surface in the crushers right now, as I understand.
Yeah, you have mere minutes. You see Castian and Sergeant David in like the crowd of troops. As you kind of look over them, you're at you're at an elevated spot in like the center of it all.
All right. So, Jindo gets up from his seat in the crusher, and like that's probably not an advised thing to do in these, but he kind of does it to take, just show control, and he kind of puts an arm, leans against something, and is sort of kind of surveying his troops, and he flips on the communication between like the other crushers so everybody can hear him, and he sets out with well, you all have your orders and you all know what we're here to do. There's no acceptable outcome for this that isn't victory. Whether there's any survivors down there or not, that's for us to determine. And the ultimate goal here is we get the Shigawire and we get out. And whatever the cost, that's what we have to do. There is no version of this where we don't come out with that. And he's basically kind of reiterating the victory at any cost. I think Jindo is less of a "all right, you maggots" kind of leader, and more of a you are never beaten until you admit it kind of leader. So I think that's the nuts and bolts of his speech.
Awesome. All right, so this also is counting as your momentum generator. No pressure. So let's go ahead, and it's a level difficulty 0 test, and it's obviously going to be communication, and then I'm not sure which is the best for you. It'll be communicate.
Communicate's real bad for me, so this will be great. Let's see here. Probably duty, because this is people are the true strength of a house. And the Shigawire is the goal. That's the primary objective, but we're here to rescue our people if at all possible. So duty is 100%.
Okay, give it a roll. All right, let's see what you got. And of course, you weren't using a thing, but you got one, so good. All right, so let's bring us over here briefly. All right, and you have a whole 1 momentum to play with so far, and I have 4 threat. Oh, good times. Good times are had by all. So let's see. All right, we'll be back. All right. Cool. All right, so yeah, you have 1 momentum. Castian and David, you kind of hear this, and you're in the troops, and they're all kind of these are pretty good troops. The Gildrun did not skimp on like the volunteers. You're standing next to people who have like, these will be soldiers till they die type of people. These are people who have absolutely all killed multiple people in their time. The Arno Greenhorns. You definitely see, a lot of chatter, like, never, you hear like, yeah, I never did put my blade in a Harkonnen before, but today's a good day type of talk. These are tough guys. These are the non-politically correct dudes that you read about, they give 0 shits about anything. They will totally without horror, without angry rage, passion, kill people. They'll do it. It's all very, very professional and very brutal, but very brutal. Did I mention brutal? And House Gildrun absolutely has those. Don't deceive yourself. They might be a house that makes a lot of money with acting and troops and stuff, but yeah, when they need to fight, they fight, and you're amongst them. I'll let you guys have a little scene. What you talk amongst each other.
So have I worked with David before?
I'm going to say here and there, not regularly.
Okay. Sergeant, any concerns?
Not really. We got the best of our troops, our seasoned warriors. I think we're going to come out of this all right. Anything to take down some Harkonnens.
Like, as you can see, I don't carry a stunner, so if I need you to cover me,
I've got your back.
Ready. Good.
Excellent.
Which is my player way of saying I have the direct, talent, and I am prepared to use it.
Nice. Yes, and again, as usual, you're in charge of character sheets. Please do remember that. In case of Sergeant David, that's a whole lot easier today. It's like literally 8 lines or something like that. So good job. You're in control. You're the expert of Sergeant David, Reza. Danielle. Susan, sorry. It's like my parents used to call the dogs' names first, and then they get to my sister's names. You know how that works? Same thing. But I'm not saying your dogs. Oh, that did come out wrong. But you know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna go from here. Let's just forget that never happened. Forget that ever happened. Anyway, so yes. So like David, you're going to absolutely, whereas you might have a specialty of a stunner, you absolutely have a knife and a shield. Keep in mind that the shield, and I'm going to give you both those as assets. Just remember the rules state that if you have an active shield, you cannot fire a ranged weapon. So kind of keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that it's limited circumstances where that slow pellet stunner is going to be useful, mostly on like retreats of the opponent type of thing, when the relative speed between shield and projectile fall within that range, that type of thing. So kind of keep that in mind. You're probably going to be using your knife more, but for those opportune shots where that's going to be worthwhile, you're all set and you have a focus for it. So good job. Cool. All right, we have that set up. So the crushers, you kind of get the alert, not unlike present day military vehicles. You have the big red light that's blinking and the loud siren that comes over everything else, the klaxon, over like all of the sound of like these are crushers. These are not aerodynamic things. They're not made to glide effortlessly through the air. These are on suspensors. So they're coming down hard through the atmosphere where they're being dropped right from a freaking highliner. And you guys feel that turbulence. You guys are probably locked down in seats at this point, including Jindo, though he might just stand up there to be cool. Like, I'm cool. I'm all right. I'm not going to fall down and break anything in front of you.
I'm so tough.
And if I do, I'm just not going to show it until you're out of the crusher. And then I'm going to cry a little bit, but you won't see that. That's fine.
I'll just set that broken arm again.
Again. But yeah, things are shaking. There's lots of noises. This klaxon is probably like the level of which would normally hurt your ears, but with all this turbulence, it's like just slightly above the din of all that. And before you know it, like it's not a crash, because literally a crash would kill you, but the suspensors suddenly take effect and you feel that sudden slowness, from terminal velocity to several meters per second to nothing as you slam on the ground. And again, this will, if there were any troops or fortifications below you, they are now melted to goo and dust. The front door is open. Imagine this is very much like, like the, Saving Private Ryan D-Day thing where the front door opens and you're automatically like, facing other troops. I'm going to say as the doors open, there's probably a good bunch of industrial machinery, mining type stuff out there. So you're not completely just out in the open, I'll say. But those will be few and far between types of things. So yeah. All right. Any questions before we kind of continue the circuit? All right. Whew. All right, here we go. Let's jump in. So, Inaya, it's getting kind of old sitting there looking 3 centimeters from a hunter seeker. And it's a little scary. Literally, if this guy was to have like a little, like a nerve twitch, like that's the forward button right there. That's it. That's Bene Gesserit, and control of your body or not, you can't control where your brain is. And that thing does know where your brain is, and it will find it in a very painful way. You've probably seen film clips, maybe, of someone being assassinated by one of these devices, and you don't see it, but it's ugly. It's like suddenly the convulsions out of like nowhere. It's like that it hits them, and they probably barely even realize it at first until suddenly the pain starts to well up and then starts to hitting nerve clusters, and suddenly every muscle in their body is flailing around until, mere seconds later where mercifully their body stops to, pass electricity to the brain and allows the brain to die off if it hasn't been chewed up by the hunter seeker itself. So yeah, now that you get a good perspective on that. So Nestor kind of leans into you, and he's kind of looking at your pupils. You can kind of see him looking in your eyes and kind of gauging your reaction. And I'm assuming that Anaya she's focused on it, but she probably knows that she really can't do much, so focus anyway, type of thing. What's going through Anaya's head?
What's going through Anaya's head is what is the best way out of this situation. And right now she thinks that's keeping this guy talking and eventually getting him to remove her gag. Because while she is not a Reverend Mother, she is quite good at voice. And to be fair, he probably is in some way prepared for that. But it might be her best ticket out of here. So she's going to continue being friends.
The pliable, what do you call it? Hostage, if you will.
Yeah. Cooperative.
Yeah, he's kind of looks at you. He's like, "You'd love to get that gag off, wouldn't you?" And for a second, it's like, is he reading my mind? And he's just kind of sits back. He's like, the gag will come off soon, one way or another. Well, I'll kind of set the stage first, and then introduce myself as a player in the play, show you your part, and see what you want to do. Because in the end, this interaction, how this ends, is all about your choice, Bene Gesserit. And he sits back in his seat and kind of cradles the control box, like, kind of like on his lap, like on some kind of deranged laptop of death. And it seems very comfortable for him. Like you like anyone who like didn't know how to use one of these intimately would be like they'll be like holding it very tight just in case this slips or that slips or whatever. This is dangerous. This is dead. This is death right here. But he's very comfortable with what he's doing. You probably don't know much about me. The dossiers are slim. Really, I'm not a threat these days. 2 generations ago, I would have been at the top of your list if you were hunting down Harkonnen. The Baron's predecessor, his father, hired me, brought me aboard. And I was his mentat for a good long while. I spent most of my time with him on Kaitane, in the Harkonnen embassy there. We learned a lot about the Imperium there. We put out our own spies, took care of the spies that came in. I stopped no few assassination attempts on my Baron and his family. And I was a good mentat. I was a very good mentat. I was such a good mentat that I, quite honestly, manipulated my Baron through the years. I trained him. I trained him to see that I was a power to be reckoned with on my own. And if you just let me start my own house, he'd see that power start to blossom like a flower, like a dangerous flower, a flesh-eating flower, really. And over time, it took time. He saw that, and it didn't take as much time as I had computed, but the fact of the matter is, he gave me this plot of land, a small little bit, to be sure, once you take all of Giedi Prime into account, but still my own domain. Made me, elevated me to the status of a nascent house, and in a few dozen generations, maybe a minor one. Certainly not in my lifetime. We all know that. I know you know how the Landstrad works. There have to be quite a bit done. But here's the thing. The present Baron, Vladimir, doesn't care much about me. I understand why you're here, and truly, I really inflated the dossier of what your people are coming to find. But it's going to be valuable. I wouldn't make you come all this way for nothing, and I surely wouldn't want your comrades to have died for nothing. So they'll get something, and it'll be worthwhile. But here's the thing. The Baron doesn't care much about me. And it's a matter of time, I think, before maybe he decided that House Nestor doesn't need to exist anymore. And I've done 3rd tier computations. And I would recognize a 3rd tier is like, this is literally a mentat is like put on a catheter and fluids for like a week or more. With nonstop computation. This is the big time, and you don't necessarily survive this. If your mind gets lost in the computations, you're just a vegetable, and you're done forever. And just for him to say this, and I would recognize that this is supreme importance right here. Like, I did a 3rd tier computation, and I don't think Harkonnens are on the winning side, and I'm playing the long game. So here's what we can talk about. Here's what I'd like to talk to you about. I'd like to talk about providing something for your newfound partnership. Do you know about your partnership? You're probably low level enough where you haven't been told that, I'd assume. We'll get to that as our conversation continues. But let's just say that I'm interested in helping you. So soon enough, sooner than you'd expect, I'm going to take off your gag, and we'll talk. And you can use your wiles on me if you like, and they may succeed or not. And he kind of points down to like the little control panel on his lap. But the fact of the matter is, you are deciding the outcome of this story. You are the author of the end of this chapter in your life. Keep that in mind. Do you understand?
Do I think he's like, is he on the level with me? Can I tell?
Well, let's go ahead and let's do a test, just for kicks. Let's see here, because I wanted you to roll some dice too. That's kind of the cool part, right? Let's see. So let's look at an IS sheet.
An understand test, I'm thinking.
Yeah, an understand test, and I'm assuming you're going to go with like body language.
Yeah.
Like, does he have any like the body language?
Yeah, does he have like a tick or a towel or something that like indicates that most people have something, right, that they do when they're lying?
Sure. Let's see here. I'm actually going to hold on 1 second.
And I am 100% going to go with power as the drive for this, because Anaya is not freaking dying in this stupid room.
All right, I'm gonna put this out here. Let's see, where are we? Sorry, I have to maneuver back and forth between so many windows right now. I'm gonna put this in chat too, like I did the other day. So feel free to look at that. That's what you're working with. Again, I'm generally there's going to be stuff that's kept secret from you as in character knowledge, even out of character knowledge. But generally speaking, I tend to be like a almost everything on the table type of GM. So I don't mind showing you this. And I kind of think it adds a little flavor to the character to have an idea of reading into things. But so yeah, let me set the stakes for that, and we'll see how we do. So this will be, I'm going to say for him it'll be discipline and truth. That seems correct. So his target will be 12. Let's go ahead and do a roll. All right. So yeah, 2 successes.
I also have 2 successes.
All right. Then you win. So basically, me setting the stakes is basically telling you this is the difficulty. And actually, because you're a Bene Gesserit, that would have made it easier too. So
I definitely win.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a momentum for that. Let me go back and forth. And again, I apologize to my players also for I have 8 or more windows going on here. It's crazy. All right. So you guys now have 2 momentum, and there we are. All right. So let's continue on with Jindo. Jindo, it's kind of this is the battle. This is your show. How are we running this? You are again. You can choose which crusher you're in. I'm assuming this one, but whichever. That's generally not important. If they get to you, it's been a bad day already anyway. But yeah, so it's not as important where you are at. It's more important where the various assets are at. So these are the 4 assets you have to kind of move around the table. And actually, while we're at it, which one represents Castian and David's group? Which asset represents them?
So one of those will represent the both of them.
Yes, yeah, because these might look like 4 characters. These might look like 3 up here, but in reality, these are assets of combat teams.
So it's a little bit more nebulous than just 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's 4 groups against 3 groups plus the 1 up here.
Okay. Then yeah, I guess let's just say that this one on the far left is Castian and David.
Cool. Yeah, let's see here. Cool. I'll put the little symbol up there for him. I have no idea what that symbol actually means or why it's there for Roll20, but it looks like a good one.
That'll work.
So yeah, these are about these represent maybe I'll say 20 troops each.
Do we have any kind of recon or scout with us that could assess what's in front of us?
No, you had a very basic intelligence readout of this one. Kind of one of the reasons is explained to Jindo that this was originally meant as a infiltration type team, was because there was so little intelligence on this. Again, even from outside, this is generally not generally an important place. So with Gildrun would not have the resources to get spies or recon on every single place. So the reason was again, there was no available intelligence or very little. So you know about the complex, and somewhere like on the third floor of this complex is the vault. I'm going to say that one of your each of those teams has at least one person, probably just one person with a las gun. Or laser gun, depending on, again, Harkonnen, laser gun, las gun. Are you from the north or the south or whatever? But that would be to open any such vault that's there. The idea would be cut through that type of thing.
Right. So they have a mixture of weapons as well. So okay.
Yeah, but las guns are going to be like, again, maybe it'll be at least one, probably just one per team. So with the instructions, if the las gun carrier dies, the others pick it up and keep on going until it's used or you're retreated or whatever. Okay.
I think what I would like to try to do first is, I suppose this would be like moving an asset subtly. Is like mechanically what it would be. I would like to try to get one of those assets in some kind of position. Put together some group that, if they are able to move more stealthily or have a stealthier approach with more cover, have them move forward and kind of report back their findings, if that's possible, as opposed to just like everybody, straightforward.
Sure. So mechanically, what I'm going to say is what that would require is, for purposes of the battlefield and whatnot, don't mistake a subtle move for necessarily requiring a stealth approach. It's just a move that doesn't attract the attention of the opponent. So, like, for example, you could say, okay, troop number 4, going from left to right, 1 to 4. Say troop 4, advance and pick up, advance from machine to machine, not confronting the enemy, and conceal thyself, and eventually do some recon, report back, that type of thing. So yeah. So for this, and again, I'm going to kind of guide you at least how I'm reading the mechanics, and you can all chime in as you need. Again, none of us is the expert at this point, especially those of us who don't have books. Danielle and Jonathan. We have PDFs.
I suppose it's also worth asking. It's also worth asking, I guess, are we treating this as like, if we, when this goes to conflict, is this warfare? Is this skirmish? How are we?
This is for purposes of you. I'm calling this the warfare. You're moving around units that you're architecturally moving around. Once your units get involved with one another, that becomes a skirmish. And that's what
just wanted to make sure.
And Castian will be involved.
Just wanted to clarify
that level of conflict. So we're basically mixing, 2 different types of conflicts plus a personal conflict, which technically isn't a conflict as we call it in this mechanic system, but you get the point. So yeah. Again, you're acting right now as architect. You're moving, groups of troops around the battlefield, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of try to guide you as best I can with my understanding of the rules and the conflict as I see them. And again, please feel free to correct me. I am absolutely not infallible. We all know that. So what I would recommend, so what you're trying to do is get someone up there to be able to have some time for recon. So what I would recommend is do your subtle move. I'm going to have you make a roll with the difficulty of 2 with your strategy and see if that works. If so, you basically can move like one of your groups. I'm just going to move them as I assume what you mean. So like one of your groups up to here, to the other zone. So you move from one zone to another, which is a move. And then as your second, your second action, which you pay 0 momentum for, is to then take up a position of camouflage. And in fact, if you want to spend your 2 momentum, you can create an asset that's something like, excavation machine, which will then make it easier for your people to, attain camouflage. Also, I want you guys to remember there's this already, the battlefield just in preparation for the combat is probably splayed with all kinds of smoke grenades and other sundry articles. The machinery itself is, again, this is Giedi Prime. This is, they're choked out with all their industry and manufacturing and their excavation and mineral processing and etc. So so visibility is limited for most part, but it has to help that you have, I'm not going to actually put that in as an asset or a complication here, but yeah, so if you want to spend the 2 momentum, you can make an asset that then makes that concealment easier, and that would be your second move, your second action before initiative passes to the other side. Does that sound like what you're trying to do, what you're intending?
Moving, as I understand it, moving subtly just allows you to take further action before the enemy can respond. So
at zero cost. So basically, you get to have one action, and then keep the initiative, which again does count as keeping the initiative, so we can't do that again, at least not until someone else on the other side acts. But yes, you then get to act again for 0 momentum cost, where it would normally cost you, I believe, 2 momentum just to do that. So right now you're saving that.
Yeah.
Or you could just spend the 2 momentum and do a normal move twice, keeping the momentum, just as a mechanics note.
Right. I don't want to blow all our momentum right away.
Okay.
But at the same time, like if we're going to, get in here and try to get some information, I guess what would that, what kind of role are we looking at? Just battle with strategy, you said?
Yeah, this is all going to be battle rolls for the most part. Some move rolls depending on what we do when it comes to Castian and David. But yeah, it's going to be, for you, it's pretty much all battle and all about the strategy thing.
Okay.
So first of all, if you want to move subtly, we got to make that roll to move subtly. So go ahead and let's take a look what we have.
Okay. So I'll be using duty for this, just being people are the power, the true strength of the house. So
right, and you do get your strategy focus. It's literally what this thing is all about. And I'm going to make it so this is, I'm sorry, I don't make it anything. This is actually a difficulty of 2 just to do the move subtly. So go ahead and make your roll.
Okay.
All right. And hold on 1 second, please. Let's see, I just want to look. And let's see here. Veteran strategist makes this easier, so I'll actually let you do this at a 1 difficulty.
Okay. Then if it's a 1 difficulty and we're already focused, I'm going to spend 1 momentum to buy a die, to give me 3, and that'll leave us with 1 momentum left. And hopefully I can generate some more, and really give us an upper hand here.
Cool. Sounds great to me. Let's see how you do. Okay. So let's see, 16. So you got 2 successes. So 1 above. So you kind of got your momentum back. And I won't take you guys to that screen every time, but I'm definitely keeping track of your momentum for you. So yes, you're at 2 momentum now. I'm still at 4 threat.
Okay.
All right. So that got you to there. So now you've made your move. So you went from, let's see here. Where is that? So you went from here to chair. 15 feet is actually not what this is, but you get the point. So you went from there to there, zone 1 to zone 2, which is 1 move. And now I'm going to have you, again, roll like a battle strategy concealment type of thing. So again, this is pretty much going to be the same roll for you the whole time. Depending on, we might switch up focuses or whatever, but for purposes of this, you're basically directing your troops to, take cover, get under camouflage, and be able to, for the next turn, potentially, do the reconnaissance thing and get a better picture of what lies ahead through the smoke and fog and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. So, is there a difficulty for this, or is this just?
Yeah. This, I'm going to say the difficulty for this. Let's make it a 2. So
Okay.
there's a lot happening here.
All right. Here we go. Oh.
All right. You got 2 successes and a complication.
2 successes, but a complication. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to say your complication is that one of your men from that group was kind of injured by just like probably just in the moving, like, you know, going from one place to another, tripped over the wrong thing when they were going over like the excavation equipment. And I'll say that, so that comes up as like a oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong level. So that will affect how that group acts from this point.
And that's the group that's in zone 2?
Yes, that's the group that you just moved. I can't seem to get at my stuff on the other sheet, so I'm going to not worry about that for now. We'll kind of keep that in mind. All right, so there's that. Let's see here. So now the other group gets to move. I'm going to basically move one of these guys. Ooh, what the heck? I'm probably in the wrong level. Should be object.
I think you're on the ruler.
Okay. Yep, there you go. All right. Okay. So from here, this troop will move into the second area and it looks like they have an intention to attack, but we'll see how that works out. All right. So let's actually go to. Let's see. Well, that's gonna be interesting. So actually, you know what? Let's do it this way. I want to make sure that Castian and David have stuff to do. So they're basically the opponent. Their opponents are approaching you. They're apparently looking to do like a more or less just a full frontal attack of your position. They are not being subtle. They are not trying to look at stuff. But they're there for you to interact with. You can actually, you know, interact with anyone in your zone as a note. Technically, if I was really granular about this would become its own skirmish map, but I'm really not too concerned about that at this point, and I don't want to make it any more complex than it already is. So,
you should, you know, isn't this like, you know, battle chess where you have like 3 tiers, and you know you can go between different levels, and no.
Yeah, but Scott chess, where like, you know, you have, you know, drunk people moving around and slapping on this thing, so pieces fly everywhere. That's what we're looking at. But let's see what we have here. So yeah, so you're basically confronted by House Nestor troops. Their uniforms are completely green except for like a olive type green, except for their black gloves and boots. And even their shield belts are all kind of uniformly, you know, kind of tinted green. And all of them have like blades out, and they're running at you. And again, for purposes of this, I'm going to kind of keep it kind of more or less even. The battlefield is large, so again, each of these troops on the map represents 20 or so actual troops. So you're just going to be part of the skirmish as you're doing your thing on this bigger battlefield.
So how does that work in terms of, you know, mechanically us, you know, whittling them down or not?
Right. So your actions for your group are going to be the ones that really count. Okay. So right now I've made it so you're interacting with them. So we're in kind of a skirmish fight right now. And again, it's this going to be unfortunately a little complex, but first I'm trying it out. Let's see how we do. For purposes of you guys, I'm going to say that there's like 4 troops to you.
Okay.
These 4 troops being, you know, generally NPCs. Well, not generally, they are NPCs. They're low level, you know, minion NPC type stuff. So yeah. So what do you do? I'm going to say that Castian is going to have first initiative of this group. So it's two against 4.
Sure. We've had worse odds.
And you're all in the same zone, so that doesn't affect
Right.
anything.
So there's no movement or anything really necessary in this case.
Right. This is a clash of weapons at this point. And
Yeah.
tails. Tails in the face.
Sorry, I have a fireworks going off and behind me too.
Sorry.
Well, I'm going to, yell for David to, keep my left side, or shore up my flank here. And we're going to go in. So specifically, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. Well, I'm not going to use direct yet. I think I'll wait for something a little bit more cinematic for the scene.
Sure.
But I have my shield up and blade out, and I'm going to see if I can cut a couple people in half.
Yep.
Well, slowly,
Slowly, yes. It doesn't quite work like that again.
Let's slowly.
Keep in mind shield fighting. But thank you, Reza, for illustrating the slowness of the stab. Awesome.
Luckily, it's a good two-handed sword that can be held on the blade, and just.
How's that go again?
Oh wait!
Show me your war face. That's his war face. That is a terrifying. If I saw that coming at me with a blade, I would be terrified. I'm here to tell you. So there's that.
Be able to see the blade from this far away.
All right. Again, so for purposes of simplicity, you're gonna be. I'm gonna actually. Just to do it. I'll roll for them and set the stakes, and have you go from there. These are minion level NPCs, so pretty much you hit them, they're done. Let's see here. So I'm just gonna roll 2. The score for this one and I'm not gonna worry again. These are minions. I'm not concerned about focuses. Is going to be I'm gonna say 14. So let's see how we do.
Pretty good.
All right, 1 success, 1 complication. All right, I will. I'm gonna buy off the complication with threat, so leaving me down to 2 threat. Just take the reference here, and again, you all have 4 momentum presently.
Oh, we have 4.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Or I'm sorry. 2 momentum presently. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Showed 2.
I'm ahead of my game here. So so your difficulty is 1 to hit this person.
Yep. So I'm going to use obviously battle, duty. I do have a focus of long blades.
Yep. What is your duty statement? Also, I forget.
It is duty is ours, consequences are God's.
That's all right. We haven't had to really challenge any statements yet, but I'm sure that's coming eventually.
Yeah, don't you challenge when you're using determination, or
you get determination for challenging?
Got it.
But we really haven't gotten any challenging, or I haven't told you that something gets in the way of it, of your things. But we'll get to that later time. Let's keep things flowing. Go ahead and
I'll stick with 2 dice.
Excellent.
Two successes.
All right, 2 successes. That adds 1 to your momentum. Good job.
I think I'm able to, move to the side, limiting, both of them coming at me at once, hopefully, and dispatch one so I can move on to the other.
Okay, describe what that looks like. And again, I do want you to, even with the long weapon, just keep in mind that this is shield fighting. So again, you won't be cutting anybody in half because that's literally impossible with shield fighting.
Like, you actually can hold the, sword is almost like a spear. So,
well, or
a short javelin,
It's a stabby in this case.
It is stabby.
What does that look like?
You
basically are confronting this guy on the battlefield, and
Yeah, a little bit of a jockeying of position, feinting a little bit one way to get him to overcommit so that you can move to the side and only face one opponent as opposed to two. And then, I guess, blades are crossed, so to speak, as we look for openings and, eventually the, greatsword, gets in far enough and, is able to just, slice right across, the upper neck.
Yeah, I'm imagining that, like, yeah, you're kind of, I can imagine you, like, maneuvering in a position where he expected your reach to be longer, but it wasn't. Right. So by the time it occurred to him that in order to not be kind of, like, held literally in place, which is, like, literally the worst thing you want in shield fighting, to not be able to move, and therefore change that relative speed between the two items, he's basically underestimated, and now he can't move back, or at least not fast enough to change things, and suddenly, so it's spurt blood, guy goes down. I'm gonna say another guy is gonna take a swipe at you quick, because you kind of, it's like, oh, it was a lucky shot, that first one. So yeah, let's see here. Oop, actually, I'm supposed to have you set the stakes, but I did already roll, so I'll let you do as you like. So that would have been 2 successes. So go ahead and, go ahead and set the stakes, and I'll keep this roll, just because I don't want to have to fudge anything. But yeah, so basically it can be the same thing.
I would not have used momentum, so.
What's that? Okay.
I would not have used momentum, so I will go with the 2.
Alrighty. And same roll as before. Again, I think we're going to see a lot of this until we get to some, like, movement things where movement gets more important to what you're doing. So just kind of keep that button fresh, basically. All right. Okay, you have 1 success. Anything you can do to change it?
No.
All right. And now, in fairness, let's see. So, yeah. So you're setting the stakes, and he has to. He still made it. So I'm sorry. I'm doing mental gymnastics here. So. And this kind of came from actually something I approached the Mystics on the 2D20 Discord. Like, so how do, like, traits on the defender side work? And basically, defender side, you really can't make it easier or harder for you, because you're not rolling against anything. You're creating the difficulty, right? So what that means is the traits which you would normally use for that instead boost or lower the difficulty for your opponent. So in this case, it would have made instead of 1 difficulty, which it is at the moment, it would have made it a 2 difficulty. But because the opponent did already get 2 difficulty, they get that. They've met the difficulty, so they'll swipe you. So yeah, so you're gonna take. Let's see. What's your battle? Let's take a look at your battle.
Battle is 6.
All right, you have. Let's see here. 2 removed from that, so you have a 6. Basically, aren't defeated, and you aren't even hurt right now. Again, in the Duneverse, in the 2D20 Modiphius Dune, until someone's defeated, there's no such thing as, like, hit points or anything. This is just the meter to get them to get you to defeat. So now you have 4 points left before you're defeated. Whereas they're, again, just minions, etc. So now David gets to act. What is David doing? And again, I just as like a quick note. So it's like, after you just totally rip that guy's throat, that slice, the misplaced footing of him that just doomed him, and he realized that second too late, which is exactly what shield fighting is all about. This other guy takes that opportunity of, you kind of being, on the footing ready for that person, and not for that other random dude running at you in the out of the mist, basically. And because of that, he's able to kind of maneuver you in a position a little ways away from David at this point, where, like, you finally, the mud got the better of you, and suddenly they're potentially inside their shield. You're at least off balance. So David, what are you doing? The initiative passes to you.
Okay, so so Castian's like having some fitting problems, you said, and he's got a guy coming at him.
Yeah, it looks like Castian is for the moment a little off balance, and the guy is at the moment taking advantage of that. So they're Nestor soldier.
I figure David kind of does like a yell at the guy to see if he can kind of get his attention to where he maybe stops paying attention to Castian and just kind of takes like a big step in and unsheaths the knife to try to go in under him, like under an arm into the ribs or something like that.
Gotcha. And again, when you visualize in your head the fight, remember it's not so much like each roll doesn't necessarily mean a thrust. It means this represented a series of 5 attacks and counterattacks and movement and turning all over potentially all over the battlefield as you're kind of looking to get that one cut in that really does what it's supposed to. That was, in fact, all the stuff you did before then was setting your opponent up for this one push. And that's what shield fighting is all about. So, but yeah, what you're describing is very much like you did all that and like now, oh, yep, time to go under the ribs, just where he was leaving himself open. Hopefully. Let's find out. I'm going to set the stakes for you. And again, they're just across the board. I'm saying they're, what did I say, 13? Yeah, 13. Let's see. All right. And looks like 2 successes. So your difficulty to do anything to that guy is 2. So in the case of David, you'll just be rolling basically your drive, which is 5, plus so you have your battle stunner. So your target number is 11. So basically roll 2 dice, or we do have momentum if you want to buy more.
I'll see how I do here. I adjusted Reza's sheet so I could still use the buttons and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. As long as you remember where you came from, you're good to go. That's
I remember the set. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll be darned. So, and let's see. You're not using your focus, so that's 2. You met the difficulty. So yeah, describe what the end of that looks like.
I figure David probably had that little instance of when you hit that shield right away, and you need to kind of slow down and probably finally get into the shield and then in up under the rib, kind of going down on one knee and trying to push up as he's going to try to get him off balance and away from Castian. Right.
Yeah, and that totally works. And then you can feel there's probably that just that bit of resistance is like skin and cloth. Its natural resistance is like, oh, you can feel it like that's that moment where it's like pushing in rather than cutting, and then all of a sudden, boop, and boom, blade penetrates through shield. It already was through the shield, through clothing and flesh, and you probably feel just the tiniest little fluctuating feeling on the hilt as you feel like what was probably his last heartbeat as you punch up into that. Yeah. And blood, so much blood. All right, and he falls down. And actually, we're a little past our break, so let's take our 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Anaya and Alexei Nestor. So, see you in 10.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Back from break. Awesome. So Anaya, inside, you're at this point, you're probably hearing all kinds of stuff from outside. This is, just the crusher itself landing would have generated such reverberation that, just like an earthquake, it would be felt even in the complex. And I'll say at this point, that's what you kind of feel, the tremor of that. And You may not know exactly what it is, but it's something big just happened, something large. So yeah, you're sitting across from Nestor. The little hunter seeker is still kind of there. He's like, I'm now going to remove your gag, and I would like you to cooperate. Cooperate with me, and your ending is a happy one today. If you don't, I can't say what happens. Even if I don't make it out of this room, you may have lost anyway. I'll leave that for you to decide. I'd like to have a two-way conversation. I've only been into the entire monologue control of interaction in the beginning of a conversation. That was my way back in the day of the security interviews. But I'd like to hear your voice. I'd like to hear you talk. So let's see if we can be, if not friends, let's work together for just a little while. And he kind of reaches up to one side, and you can feel like there's several little like turn screw type latches on the back of the gag, the kind of like this leather strap that comes around and whatnot. And he takes it off and he lets it drop away, and he just kind of sits back and looks at you. Oop, I think you're muted.
There we go. Better. She will say, I believe you mentioned a proposition of some kind.
Oh, I most certainly did.
Care to elaborate?
So before I continued, have your superiors told you anything about this alliance that's being formed behind the scenes with House Gildrun?
Why don't you explain the situation to me as you see it?
Spoken like a trained intelligence operative. I appreciate that. Get information out of your opponent and let them feel like they're showing off their knowledge of a situation and dazzle you with it, when in reality you're just drinking in all they have to say. I admire that. I've done that myself, though I've generally used other methods to attain my knowledge. House Gildrun is slowly aligning behind the scenes with House Atreides. And that was actually something that House Harkonnen was trying to push away. They're a mentat, and he says mentat probably one of the first times in his life, like totally disdainfully. This mentat of theirs, yeah, mentat, $1 million. This mentat of theirs calculated that House Gildrun allied with the Atreides would be more of a substantial threat, would have strengthened Atreides. So they, House Harkonnen, in the Baron's wisdom, decided that it was a good time for some misdirection, sending attacks on House Gildrun, described as your mortal enemy, House Lautrec, and mostly failing. Poor De Vries. And here we are. If anything, the fact that this happened has strengthened the bond between the two instead of separating them. So here we are.
Indeed, here we are.
So now you're speaking to a vassal of House Harkonnen. You must be asking yourself, what is he thinking? The Baron isn't known for his understanding. You've already pointed out how you're not his favorite. In fact, it's a wonder you're alive. Am I reading you correctly?
I am certainly curious as to what the mentat who so famously served the old Baron would want with a Bene Gesserit he picked up off the street.
Ooh. Oh, you're not. There's no such thing as a common Bene Gesserit. You're all one big conduit to the main. I figured that much out through the years. You can only hide so much when you manipulate politics, my dear.
I'm nowhere near politics. I work in a house of entertainers.
Of course you do. So, I would like to propose this to you as a Bene Gesserit sister. You're obviously not an initiate. You fell to my trap, but my trap was well laid. And you're also an operative of House Gildrun, who, by extension, is allied with the Atreides. And again, my calculation didn't tell me how, but I see House Harkonnen will eventually not be the winning side. This is extrapolated potentially over a generation or more. But I intend to be on the winning side. So, for what I can give to you, I'm willing to act as an operative in support of the Bene Gesserit. I know things. I have access to things. Even after this attack, should your... And he kind of gestures back, and don't you worry yourself. There is an attack going on, but we're quite safe for the moment.
I assume it is not.
But after this attack, I'll even in failure, I can go back to the Baron and plead a lack of available troops, and he'll see that as true because it is. The best lies are in themselves kind of truth.
Of course.
Of course, I've been manipulating these troop holdings for months now, in anticipation of this moment, this conversation between you and I. It just so happens that you're a Bene Gesserit, and that gives me yet another chess piece to involve myself with.
And so your plan is to become an operative of the Sisterhood in exchange for what? What do you get out of it? We're not necessarily aligned with House Atreides.
Well, you're not. You're not. And I'm counting on that, actually. You're aligned with, well, yourself, aren't you?
We exist to serve.
The motto of the entire order. Well said. You're boring me, I have to say, slightly, that you're just repeating the lessons of day one of your training within the Sisterhood. I sense that you're a bit more advanced than that, but let me put it this way. Someone with knowledge of the happenings and goings-on inside these courts, inside Giedi Prime, is a worthy asset to have. And if, perhaps, the Bene Gesserit are aware of it, and use that as they will, if House Gildrun turns out to be part of a winning side, all the better, but I'm more concerned with the Sisterhood at this point. I've changed my computations since I discovered you, since I captured you.
I am, of course, obviously quite willing to carry your proposal to my Sisterhood.
Excellent. I feel like we're making progress here. I almost don't feel the need to have a hunter-seeker right at your skull, but I'm not quite that trusting. You understand, don't you?
You serve House Harkonnen. I can understand.
And he kind of touches like the control mechanism, like, I believe I did calibrate this. You see like the thing to move like millimeters forward and back. Nope. It's perfect. Perfect. And
not react to that at all.
Absolutely.
Like she sat with hunter seekers in front of her eyes every day.
Exactly. Yeah, that's literally sisterhood training. Metaphorically, not literally. Metaphorically, not literally. But yes, good, very, very good point. So cool. Let's put a pin in Anaya, or hopefully not a pin in Anaya. That would be bad. That'd be a way to end that.
That's the goal to avoid in this situation.
Excellent. And let's see. Let's go over to Jindo. So Jindo, your people, you're going to basically get kind of a relay message. So again, because devices they're carrying. Well, actually, you know what? I will say that this for purposes of this group that you probably actually meant to be your recon group does have like the larger one by default, so they'll communicate directly with you. It's going to be in generally like in Gildrun battle language, for reals battle language, and you basically get the layout of, you know, structure is keep, structure has one main entrance, structure is industrial, 2 squads of specialized combat troops ahead. Do presently in concealment, have way to maneuver past them to get to complex. Instructions. Can stay here to support other groups. Instructions, please. Well, there's no please in battle language. Excuse me.
There's no please in battle language.
There's no please in battle language. That I should write that down. That's a T-shirt.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Well, what I would like to do is, so I guess this is sort of like my turn in the conflict. If I'm responding to them, what I'd like to do is tell them to hold position and report movement. Report any forward movement. Basically.
Yeah, and just not to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure I understand. This action you're doing. This is not your action. This is I'm calling what you're talking about right here is, you know, the normal communication back and forth between moves. This is actually, since this is a battlefield, this is a tiny little fraction of that. So yeah, this is not your move. Feel free to do some communication back and forth as you need.
Yeah. I want to tell them to hold position for the moment and report any forward movement from the enemy troops.
Cool. All right. You do now have initiative. What's your move?
What I would like to do is send Squad 2, which I understand to be this one, to support Squad 1. And my plan is to see how that skirmish goes, and have the two of them sort of like have Squad 2 go reinforce Squad 1, basically, and join that skirmish, and help them basically escort Castian and David closer to the complex.
Gotcha. All right. So you don't even have to move. You're in the same zone. You can make an attack if you want. You basically order your troops to attack and engage as you like.
Yeah, let's do it. We're doing battle with focus in strategy. We're going to be using duty.
Yep. And I'm going to set the stakes first. So hold tight.
Okay.
And again, their target is 13. And I'm actually, let's look at my threat. It's time to spend some threat. I have 4 threat. I'm going to give them 2 dice. So that'll take me down to 1 threat. And you have 3 momentum. Let me take you over that page for a second just so you can kind of see.
Didn't you previously buy off a couple threat? Or did you get a couple more back?
I think I got a couple more back because I remember. Okay. I think I took those off.
Just checking.
No, I appreciate that. But you guys do have 3 momentum. So I'm going to buy 2 dice. 2 stakes, and let's see how we do. Again, their target number is 13. Luck at 13. Not today. 2 successes. So your difficulty is 2. Again, you're a master strategist. That makes it easier. So your difficulty is 1.
Isn't it? You said it was 13 was their target?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So yes. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
You're fine. You're fine.
So it's 2 actually, because again, you're a master strategist, so that makes it easier. So your difficulty is 2. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay. I'll spend a momentum to buy a die.
Excellent.
And we'll do battle with duty, because we're trying to help the people of our house. So we're gonna roll that.
Nice. And so you get 3 successes with that critical. All right. So you get Yep, so you get that momentum back up to 3 momentum. And let's see here. Okay, cool. So yeah, so the you kind of like see from your vantage point, you can actually see some stuff through, again, the fog of the literal fog of war in this case, like where it's actually fog and smoke bombs and stuff like that is going off. But here and there, you can kind of get especially since you're in this crusher, you can get a good vantage point on it and see what's going on. But you do see your guys just flanking them, basically, coming in from the sides. They were looking to engage their, just full frontal, shock troop tactics, just go kill the guy in front of you. And suddenly the guy to the side of them is killing them. So I'm going to say that they're not defeated, but they're down, like, with their, what do you call it? Their battle level is at 4. So now they're down to a 2. So another such interaction will destroy them or scatter them at least, or force them to retreat. One of those. Cool. So yeah, you get reports back. There's a lot of battle language going around, and again, it's when you envision battle language, again, this is clipped speech. This is like the stuff I relayed to you before happened in the space of like 4 seconds. Max. You get all this information in 4 seconds, because there in Gildrun or any house's battle language, there is no like there's tense in the sense of reporting things that have happened and will happen and that kind of thing, or more it's like completed orders something. So there's so little and there's so much you can squeeze into things. You kind of see from your vantage point as like you're like on the top level of the crusher, like you're almost, imagine it like a kind of a partial dome looking out onto the battlefield there. And you can, every now and then the smoke and fog clears and you can see like a couple of your guys just you see 2 guys just forcing one person almost as a standstill between them before one actually, does the coup de grace type of thing. You're just seeing a bunch of people go down, and it's going in your favor right now. So yeah.
All right. Awesome.
And you get those reports back. So it's like, troops, enemy troops, good heavy losses, continuing with attack. Further instructions, ?
I will say I'll give them an order that's basically finish up and escort Squad 1 to the compound.
Cool.
Like continue assault and then escort.
Excellent. And like you can, in the distance, you can kind of see above all this smoke and din and whatnot. And like, now there's like, again, the crusher landed so shortly ago that the dust from this huge impact is still like settling on the planet's surface at this point. So it's like, again, there's just all this stuff obscuring your vision, but every now and then you get a peek in and you can see this or that, and get an idea of at least where troops are. So yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, let's go to let's see, Castian, you're back on the order. What you doing? Just continuing the carnage. Now that you actually see, of course, the other squad coming up and flanking them and decimating like the entire right side of them from you. Like all the soldiers are freaking dead.
Yep. And if there's still, some present, then yes, continuing the carnage, because that's going to be our best way to advance without letting them get to the crusher.
Right. That's all you need is for your Jindo to get destroyed.
Right. That would be bad.
That'd be bad.
That would go down as a permanent black mark in my, in my record. my personnel.
Or a promotion, like you gotta fill that empty spot. Looks like you're the strategist now.
You become captain of the guard if you can't even protect your general.
That's a very good point. All right, yeah. So you in the conflict, this, and again, it's so hard for me to kind of give you the gravity of all that's going on. I mean, imagine like you've all seen like Braveheart, the just chaos, seeming chaos of the battlefield. There was strategy going on there. There were groups that had orders that were doing this. Right. What's that?
We've all seen Lynch. I mean, we've seen these, blocky shapes, running at each other, and things exploding, and
not so much explosion.
No weirding way yet. Got it.
Yeah, no weirding modules in this campaign. But yes, I want to be totally transparent. I really loved the weirding modules in the movie. I thought they were cool. But there is that. Anyway. But yeah. So like, there's this just din again. There's this controlled strategic chaos going on in front of you. People everywhere are looking for a target or someone weak or a comrade that needs an assist. It's like there's all these split second decisions happening. It's like, for both Castian and David, you're both battle tested soldiers, but sure full well that a real battlefield is all about chance when it boils down to it. It's like, did someone just get behind you and you didn't notice, or are you focusing on that, taking out that opponent over there while the other comes up behind you to slip a knife in your shield, that type of thing. It's all, your skill gets you so far and gives you the best chance, but there's still just chaos to be equated in this equation here. So there's all that. So yeah, I'm assuming Castian just picks another nearest target or something in particular they're looking for?
I mean, there's not, unless there's like, a quote unquote leader of this group. These are just faceless soldiers just like we are,
It seems like there's like a squad leader. Yeah, it looks like there's a squad leader, or at least someone who's taking that position, who's barking out, like, again, battle, Harkonnen or Nestor battle commands, that kind of thing. So if you want, that's a good target if you're looking for such a thing.
Yeah, so I say, this time I am actually going to use direct, and I say, David, on me, and we are going to advance on, this one or multiple people. So specifically what the talent enables me to do is to command an allies from North to act, and they're acting on my turn in addition to whenever they would act in their turn.
Ooh, neat. So basically it's you get to act, they get to act, and then later in their turn they get to act.
Yep. Or if they've already acted already, they get to act twice.
Right, gotcha. That sounds pretty cool.
I'm kind of using it as, a small force multiplier.
Right, cool. All right. I'm assuming the on me command says attack means it basically attack my target type of thing. So I'm assuming you see this guy who's been barking out commands, and again, these are competent troops. You can see like you can see like the training in them that you see in yourselves, both David and Castian, kind of, fill them in their actions. Like they're doing that mental math. Like, okay, target in front of me dead. What's the next strategically best target to take out? Go to them. Knife, etc., etc. These aren't. You can tell these might be like battle tested, but they are not what you would call elite troops. These are not, Sodaker level or anything like that.
And likewise, we're battle tested, but not elite. So,
well, Castian is up there. He can be easily said.
Technically, their skill is higher for what you've selected.
Yeah, know what I'm saying. But yeah.
Well, technically, we're high, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, and just because I'm kind of curious, so David, like, what was the last time you were in a battle like this before? As you're kind of going through the din of all this Carnage and Battlefield, all these things clashing together at the same time. Like, what was the worst combat they were in that reminds you of this? No pressure. I'm hitting poor Reza poor Susan on a day when she's just had a long ass week, is looking for some mental respite, and I'm hitting her with some improv right away. You can pass on that if you want. I'll let you pass on that. You don't have to. I'm just trying to. I want to
pass on that one.
Okay. I'm just my goal with that is just to give. I want to give you more spotlight. I want to give you more of a chance to contribute and do stuff and feel like you're important here, because my goal is everyone should feel important to every session, and I don't want, just because you're a secondary that other character doesn't mean you're not important to this session also. So, but conversely, I understand that you're having a tough one, so I will lay off you.
Thank you.
All right, hang in there. I appreciate your presence immensely. So I appreciate you taking the time, especially with the tough week, to hang with us. So that means a lot. I appreciate it. So I will not torture you, because I'm not that cruel. I'm close. All right. So Castian, let's set some stakes real quick, and let's see. So I feel like this is flowing at least a little more. So let's see how we do.
I don't think someone being double teamed, if that presents any other challenges, or
I'm saying or the
fact that two people are rolling against them is enough.
Yeah, I'm going to say the fact that two people rolling against is enough. Because there's no. I won't make it like, it's harder. If you were using David as an asset, if that was your asset, I would absolutely make it easier for you to do it. It would be, they act like they're an asset's a trait. That trait does that. But since David is an actual player, their action alone is danger enough.
Okay.
Cool. I hope that makes sense.
I'm so sorry.
You're sorry. You're going to be much more important than an asset. So
I am going to spend one of the momentum for an extra die.
Okay. So your difficulty is 2. Let's see. Hold on. And that brings you down to 2 momentum. All right.
3 dice should be enough. Well,
okay. And so what do you remind me what you're rolling? Just so I have it in my head.
I think battle and duty still makes sense here.
Okay, I'm going to say again, actually I don't think any of your talent and your traits really help. Like protector isn't helping. Captain of the guard doesn't make any sense here, so I'll leave it be for now.
My talent or my trait, but protector and solid and stoic don't really apply here.
Right. So yeah, okay. So your difficulty is 2. Let's see how you do.
And then assets were pretty much matched in terms of weapon and shield.
Right. Okay.
That's 2.
2. All right, and you succeed. Excellent. Cool. All right. So describe what happens. You'll basically take that person out, and then now you can direct David to take the other with their special action.
Yep.
So what does that look like?
Again, there's, I imagine this is a lot of, positioning and, feints and, it's not exactly thrust and counter thrust so much as, try and avoid being wherever their blade is, because that's what kind of, cuts you.
Right. You don't want to be where they want you to be, basically, is the
you don't want to be where they want you to be, right? So I think there's a lot less of a dance that can be done with a large sword. So a lot of it is getting the sword in a position where they literally cannot move through that space. Similar to what the other attack was. What's that?
Without bisecting themselves, basically.
Right. It's big enough that it can actually, form that, initial barrier. And then it's just a matter of, moving, hand and, wrist up or down and, around a, position, where the cutting and pointy edges are. And I think it's actually something where I end up stepping to the side a little bit, with that blade out, and using it to cut into his side as I sort of move through and past.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and it's like that last movement has to flow. It flows like water, I'm assuming. Because I'm just envisioning this like it's almost like you passed straight through where he was, one of those moves, and you stand by the time you stop, your blade's already cleared his body, you're on the other side, not even turned back to him, one of those cool ass moves, like the bam,
yeah,
and the guy falls seconds later.
Given the speed of things, it's not like you cut him in half so much as you drag it along his side, as you move past.
Yep, exactly. The slow blade penetrates, and then once it's in, just keeps dragging, etc. until you get to the juicy bits, and then
David gets to act on my turn against an opponent, and then we'll get another action still.
Yeah. Cool. All right, David, what are you doing?
I'm kind of thinking, kind of coming in with my stunner pistol that I have. I figure, having been through the shield of the previous guy, knowing what setting it's on, thinking that maybe these guys are on a similar setting with theirs, and so I probably whip around, adjust the settings on my stunner pistol, and probably try to take out another one of the guys that's coming at us.
That's interesting. I mean, right now, you've kind of broken their lines between your guys' actions and the other squad, basically decimating their one flank. They're scattering, and their battle discipline is corroding right now, and they're thinking of running. So, again, one of those situations where maybe your stunner will be effective is when you're when you're close but not too close, and you can basically decide where they might be, shoot the stunner dart for that, and then the relative speed between stunner dart and shield, if you're lucky, does the thing. So I'm gonna let me set the stakes for that. And let's see here. So again, 13. So okay, two difficulty, and for this, because we are now technically I'm supposed to be adding the shield in for every attack on a shielded opponent, but for purposes of this, I didn't really see it necessary since literally everybody is, so who cares? But for this is definitely dependent on how you interact with the shield. So I'm going to say the difficulty is going to be 3.
Do we have a momentum I could grab for a third die?
We do. It'll take you down to 1 momentum, which is fine. And let's see here. And also, you are a soldier, which makes this easier. So it's going to be down to a 2 now.
Okay, cool, nice.
So difficulty 2, and you're rolling 3 dice. Yeah, your target is what? Oh, you already set that up. Cool. So 1, 2, 3, plus 1 complication. Cool. Excellent. So let's do this. So yeah, you basically and Castian, you'll see this kind of out of the corner of your eye. It's there's this guy is breaking combat. Looks like he's trying to maybe looks like he's trying to kind of not so much retreat, but try to, since his squad is decimated, it looks like he's trying to kind of form back up with with another group behind him. And that basically helps create that perfect storm where Reza's stunner, David's stunner, as David kind of you see him lower his body shield in that 1 second, and all of a sudden, and it's and again, to get this shot, he has to aim where he thinks this guy is going to be seconds later, and it's the trepidation, okay, it's one big lob. It's like, this is like the mathematics of like hitting the moon with a rocket type of thing. And sure as heck, the two intersect. The dart with the man penetrates the shield, and you see them just fall like rocks. It must have been some kind of paralytic in there or something, because it like literally suddenly it was like the guy's muscles stopped generating forward momentum and just stopped and went flabby or flaccid and just drops straight to the ground, either incapacitated or dead, one of the two. So for purposes of that, we're going to eliminate this group. So we're going to take them off of the battlefield. This chess piece is now gone.
Yay!
Yay! Excellent. All right, let's see here. All right, and that takes us to Anaya and Nestor. What are you doing at this point?
I think so. As I said, I'm happy to carry your offer to the sisterhood, but I mean, do you understand that there's a limit to what we can do for you while you are in Harkonnen territory?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I feel as if, without realizing it, you're purposely insulting me. That kind of backhanded Bene Gesserit double talk. Yes, you're insulting my computation. Yes, I understand the idea that while I'm on Giedi Prime, and certainly my base of power is here for the moment, certainly no group can protect me from the Baron should his full wrath fall upon me, and I understand that. But
I have no intention of insulting you. I just want to be clear on the terms of the agreement and what you are getting out of it.
Never criticize a Mentat's computations unless you have data to back it up.
I am not criticizing your computations.
He sits back and his kind of fingers wander over the control board in front of him, and he kind of just looks at you. He stands with like the control board now in his hands, and like, I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable with you. How about we free you from your bonds? What do you say? Just a nice, quiet conversation. You don't try to kill me. I don't try to implant this hunter-seeker in your nervous system.
That would certainly be an improvement in the levels of hospitality.
Very well. So he kind of hits like it's like it's akin to what's the term? Oh man, it's always when my English fails me that I could be making such a great description. It's like what do you call someone who's like an expert pianist? There's the
prodigy.
No, there's moderato. There is the highest level. Oh, I'm gonna remember
Virtuoso?
it at 3 o'clock. Virtuoso, thank you.
That's the word, yeah.
Yes, so it's a very akin to like a piano virtuoso playing over that control panel, like the just adeptness, adroitness, the confidence, and it's like before you know it, the hunter seeker is now sitting on a table a ways away. He puts down his little control panel, and he's like, "I just want you to know, also, in fostering a relationship of trust between us, that is the only door out. If you were to grab that doorknob or that latch in the way you normally would and pull it, it exudes 3 small needles that will poison and instantly kill you."
Intention of getting up out of this chair when you let me go. It just
Very
would
well.
be nice not to have all of these bonds and to have that gone. And she eyes the hunter seeker.
Well, I understand the feeling of being under bond. More ways than you'll ever know. And with that, he like untightens things. Again, this is something he's done like thousands of times before, likely in his long life. And before you know it, you're still on the seat, but you're free to move all of your limbs, your torso, your everything, just as normal. It's you're still positioned in such a way where like a person of lesser dexterity would still be like stuck here if they wanted to get up, or they have to do like the turtle, to get that forward momentum. But otherwise you're not restrained.
Yeah, and then I will take a moment to like loosen her muscles a little bit, and because I'm assuming, depending on how long she was tied to that chair, they've probably stiffened a little.
Yeah, she's probably been there for quite some time. Only brought out like, if you had to guess, just by I'm hungry, all the very you're a Prana Bindu expert. I'm hungry. My internal clock says it's maybe like 30 hours since you were originally drugged.
But I won't get up out of the chair. I meant what I said. I don't get up out of the chair. Do you have any kind of official communication you wish me to convey to the sisterhood, or simply verbal?
You see him consider for a moment, and as he kind of walks around, you see he has like the slightest of limps. He was probably, some, hip injury in his youth that just kept on, growing and growing into his old age. But it's more than just like a natural type of thing. As he kind of takes a few steps, he leans against with both arms on the table on which he has like the Hunter Seeker and now the control panel for it, behind him. And he says, well, House Harkonnen didn't have very friendly relations with the Bene Gesserit, so my opportunities to address them directly, like I am now, are few and far between, even through intermediaries and spies.
I'm aware of the house's dislike for Bene Gesserit sisters.
Not dislike, just distrust. The two don't have to be cojoined. And
you'll find that they often are, though. In our case.
He nods, agreeing. Convey this. The present Baron has no loyalty to me, and nor I to him. We exist to assist each other. If I were to die this or be replaced, this area would suffer a shortage of production for, I've computed, about 3.5 years before it was on par with where I have it now. So he would lose some production, a bit of wealth, but in the grand scheme of the Harkonnen treasury, something to do with that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I want to be on the side that survives, and I have computed that not to be House Harkonnen. But in the meantime, I'm willing to find ways to play my hand, if you will, to find my way into protective harbors. And if that is in the sphere of influence, then so be it. I know the Bene Gesserit pull no few switches in the Landsraad at large. And I could use that influence to help me to stay alive, continue my line, and make sure that when Harkonnen falls, that I don't fall with it.
Well, as I said, I'm happy to convey your offer. The Bene Gesserit are always willing to ally themselves with useful people, and it seems like there is it seems like we could both be useful to each other.
Hence why I've chosen you to survive this ordeal.
Speaking of that, what's the plan here for the next? She stops to listen to the bombardment and the fighting that's taking place.
Yeah, there's now, like, even though you're inside this complex on, like, the top floor, the third floor, you can still hear, like, the screams, the grunts of battle, all the battle languages, Gildrun and otherwise. I'll say you're at a point where you can actually hear snippets of Gildrun battle language, so you know it's like that's the cavalry, as the saying goes, type of thing.
So, speaking of survival, I know you said we were quite safe in here, but also, and she gestures around, I can't contact my sisters from this room.
Oh, I don't mean for you to. I mean for your people to rescue you. And he actually, he does laugh. He's like, I'm allowing them to rescue you and return you safe and sound while still putting up enough of a fight that when I report my defeat to Vladimir, and he says disdainfully that my loss is quite believable. Even as pathetic new Mentat will believe the ruse. There's no reason not to.
So that means then that you want me to stay in this room until the rest of my house comes for me.
I ask only that you convey my message. I would like for you to survive, so I would like for you to stay here. I will tell you, there are house troops around this complex. You seem like a feisty one, if you don't mind me saying. So I can see you wanting to exit and perhaps assist your outside troops with softening up the defenses inside. And I leave that to you. You decide what's more important. With that said, I'm going over there. And he kind of points to a stairway, and in front of it you actually see like what's obviously like a pentashield projector. And he's like, I'm going that way to the thopter on the roof. I've made certain that in planning for this conflict that your troops weren't able to bring any thopters for air support. So I'm going to escape on that quite safely, away from combat, away from any lasgun angles, should they have brought any. And you do as you will. How about that?
And I assume that when you leave, the needles in the door will be disabled?
They will not. Just be sure you don't grab it as you would a normal door latch.
Enough.
If you look closely, and I'm sure you will have no problem scrutinizing it, you'll find where the 3 holes for the needles are and avoid them.
Then it was a pleasure speaking to you, Baronet Nestor.
And he kind of reaches behind them and picks up the Hunter Seeker and tosses it at you like you would like a butterscotch, old guy throwing a butterscotch to a kid. Which comparatively you are, and that is not a butterscotch. It's the most deadly butterscotch that ever existed, if it was. And a little something to remember me by.
Thank you. Did he throw just the Hunter Seeker or the controller too?
Oh God, no! No, he threw the Hunter Seeker. The controller is probably locked or deactivated. He's played this game before, and with that, he just starts walking very casually, measuredly towards that pentashield, where you will not be able to follow him without a dissembler, which you do not have.
I mean, Anaya's going to go open the door and at least see what the status in the hallway is.
All right.
Her pride will not allow her to be discovered in an interrogation room when her friends find her.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's go over to Jindo then. So, Jindo, let's take a look at your battlefield. All right. You're now down to 4 on your board and 2 outside the complex. Two battle groups. What's your plan?
So my plan is to have squads 1 and 2 advance, and I'm thinking what I would like to do is move them into zone 2 subtly, and if that succeeds, then gaining the momentum, I want to use squad 3 and direct them to attack this troop here.
So basically, each of those is a separate asset. So if you want to move subtly, you can, but that will only get you to move one and then the other into the zone 2 here. So basically, each round for you is, or each turn for you, turn as opposed to round. So for example, if you successfully move subtly, you can do this for your first action, and for the second one, instead of spending momentum and keeping the initiative, you can then go as such. Move that to 2.
That's what I'm kind of that's what I'm hoping for there, because like the way it talks about movement in warfare is like moving subtly involves commanding a unit to move stealthily or taking the opportunity to move when the enemy is distracted or looking elsewhere. The opportune movement allows you to redeploy and take further action before they can respond. That's all I'm hoping for there. Like if I can do that one round, that's cool.
Yeah, again, what that describes, though, is just, again, being able to keep the initiative with 0 momentum and just move. So basically, again, the best you can do, given the plan you're looking for, is move both of these. If you succeed to move subtly, to move both these into the zone 2. But it's one action, keep momentum, another action. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. And now that you're in the zone, all 3 of those assets, given their own turn, can actually do the thing and use that asset to attack or what have you. All right. So given that, go ahead, and your difficulty is 1 again, because you're a soldier or rather seasoned strategist or whatever that talent is, or the trait is.
Veteran.
So veteran strategist. So your difficulty is 1 to do this successfully.
How much momentum are we sitting at? Can we take a look real quick?
Absolutely. 1 momentum.
1 momentum, 1 threat. Okay. I would like to use that momentum, if that's okay, to grab a 3rd die for this.
Okay. Everybody agree with that? Cool. All right.
So we're going to do focus in strategy, and we're going to keep going for duty here for the drive. That's 3
Excellent.
dice.
And
3
successes. All right. So you recovered 2 momentum.
More. Yeah.
Alrighty. All right. Up to 2 momentum. I'm still at 1 threat. So given what you want to do is basically, again, don't take the positions on here really as anything, because it's all about what zone you're in, and you've now moved 2 of your guys into zone 2. Now the bad news is you're now in the same zone with these guys, and then now they get to act. So they're on.
Can you move back to the map, because I can't see what you're gesturing at?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've lost track of where I'm at. I can be
it's
on
easy
one
to do
and have you guys on another. Yeah. So you guys you successfully moved both of these from here to chair. So from here into zone 2, and again, don't worry about like where technically they're located, because all that matters is what zone you're in. So again, zone 1, zone 2, complex, zone 3. So again, you've now put your guys both here. So with I'm going to actually right now I can take my shot, and again, we're down to the 3 here. I'm going to have one of these attack. So go ahead and set your what do you call it? Your defenses. I'm going to say it's not the group with our 2 PCs in there. So go ahead and roll, and whatever it is, I'll end up adding 1 to your thing because you're a seasoned or veteran strategist. Okay.
So this is like they're attacking, like I guess it would be squad 2 is what we're doing?
Yes. Yep.
Defense for that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they're attacking squad 2. I'll call this squad 1 of theirs for identification purposes.
call us Universe A and you Universe 1. Okay. Here we go. Good thing we get to come to that.
All right. So you have so your difficulty is 2. Because of, like I said, you when you're on the defense, your traits elevate or remove or lower your thing there. So let's see here. I'm going to spend my last threat, and let's make it interesting. I spend my last threat for 1 more dice for my people. Well, not my people, the NPCs. You know what I mean. So now I'm down to 0 threat. All right. So rolling 3 dice, difficulty 13 across the board. And let's see how we do. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So they're going to basically do some damage. I'm going to say again, these guys are also for purposes of NPCs for the Gildrun, it'll also be 4. So now we're down to 2 before that group is decimated. Oops. Hello. All right. Cool. And I don't have. I was thinking of spending momentum to keep the, or threat to keep the initiative, but I have no threat, so it's back to you. What would you like to do?
What I would like to do is have Squad 3. They are going to move boldly, and have them move into Zone 2.
Okay. All right, and you go ahead and roll. Your difficulty is 1, and then you get to move one of their assets, given that it's a bold move.
So quick question before I commit to this.
That's good.
Right. Well, I just want to make sure that kind of what I'm attempting here makes sense. So I basically want to have them move boldly into that zone, and I want to provoke them. And like moving them, I don't want to move them into a different zone. I basically want to draw their enemy squad 1 onto squad 3. Or should I just like attack basically?
Yeah.
I guess.
So okay. So by moving boldly, first of all, just your normal move will be to basically just move this one into Zone 2. If you just want to do a normal movement, which takes 0 roll, it just gets you there. Then, if you were to do something like, instead of like attacking this group, if you wanted to, basically taunt, for all intents and purposes, it's really what I mean, taunt this group to attack you or get off or ignore them, that would be something like another battle strategy roll, where basically, hey, can we make them think that it's a strategic, smart thing to start attacking Squad 3?
So if I want to move and attack, then I would need to move subtly into that zone and then use that follow-up action to attack.
They would use that action to draw them away, if that was your intent.
Yeah.
Or attack. Basically, you'd be using this asset is your second move there.
Okay. Yeah. Then I think that's what I'll try to do, is move Squad 3 in to basically just flank, that squad that's attacking our Squad 2.
Right. Again, you can direct them to you or anything. That'll basically allow you to control their movements, kind of, sort of. But you're in the same zone, so it's almost relevant. To move boldly, that would mean like to move this character. Oh, I don't care about these troops. I want to get to those crushers and whoever's still in them, their leaders. That'd be a bold move. That's why you'd want to do something like that. But yeah, so you want to move subtly, which basically means keep momentum at no cost. Go for it. Your difficulty is again 1. And we'll be switching to our skirmishers after this. Excellent.
So that's 3.
That's 3. So yeah, let's add some to your momentum. You're now at 2 somehow 4 momentum. We jumped up.
Can I spend that 2 momentum to create a trait, on let's see here.
You just make a battlefield trait, or what are you looking to do?
Well, I would like to have a trait that's something like either overwhelmed or demoralized or shaken, maybe. Like this squad is probably decimated and is not in communication with them anymore. This squad is engaging, and they're starting to see like they're seeing greater numbers, than what they have.
Sure. Yeah. So if you want to spend 2 momentum, that seems kind of logical. Or actually, you could in this case you could roll. Well, I'm going to have you roll for it. The difficulty will be again 1. It's normally a difficulty 2 to create a trait, but since that seems like what you want to do with your second move, that seems logical.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, do the thing.
Oh no! This might be a good time to use that determination.
All right. So you can re-roll any dice that you like. So I'm assuming both.
Yeah, re-roll both.
All right. Cross your fingers. There you go.
Whoa, double 1s.
4.
Holy
That's all right. So that's 4. Your difficulty was 1 to do that. So you maxed out your momentum for the moment. Unlike my threat, your momentum maxes out at 6. Ha ha ha.
Use it, guys. Use it.
I'll take a look at that real quick. And I'll put the demoralized trait here. All right. Awesome. All right.
Cool.
So cool. Let's go over to so Castian and David. You've basically left the one decimated. You've now been ordered to to advance by your battle commander, and you're doing so. You're encountering other skirmishers. What do you want to do?
Can you clarify what trait might have been added? I was a little bit distracted with the storm.
And actually, I'm sorry. It was successful. Oh, it was successful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jindo created the demoralized trait for the enemies on the battlefield.
Nice.
So basically, they're seeing that like they lost a whole group already. Their other group is already not on the battlefield. They're outnumbered, 4 squads to 1, or that kind of thing. So yeah, that's quite an apropos trait at the moment.
So is it typical in the squad like fighting like this? Where it's all close, shield on shield combat. Is there any real sort of formation or like small, groups or, how does that work? Because I can't imagine it's just like, pure skirmish of, it's like fight whoever you want to fight,
So for mechanically speaking, no, there is no such thing.
Right.
But on the battlefield, it is like
just trying to picture
the best. Yeah, well, absolutely. So each of these assets on the screen represent again like around 20 fighting troops, so each group I'm assuming would act like they have their own specific orders. They have their own battle commanders or captains that are behind leading from the rear in this case, and directing them. So it's not like they're just wildly running onto the battlefield. They're definitely trying to establish some kind of strategic dominance of the battlefield, not unlike a chessboard type of situation. But once the clash happens, I mean, I hesitate to use like movies as like illustrations of historical combats or whatever, but the idea is like once the two groups clash, now you're kind of in for a free-for-all until one group achieves their directive or they get other orders, and then they can split off and do what they need to do, etc., etc. So it's like it's like organized, clash, chaos, back to organized, formulating new plans and strategies, taking on different tactics as ordered, etc., etc. So it's something like that. So again, there's you see the order, you see your military, combat mind sees the organization going on, but as those clashes happen, there's literally no way to keep that order. It's all chaos until one group comes out on top, or one group gets orders, or the leader of that individual squad now has a better way to use them to do the thing, basically. But yeah, it's not just all chaos where like literally everyone is running at everyone else, Braveheart style completely.
Right. I'm just trying to get an idea of what what this looks like, and just understand where my part is in it. And I think given that, at least at the moment, we have superior numbers, and I don't exactly have control over the squad in terms of moving it anywhere.
Right. As you see, you've been moved. You've been given orders from the strategic.
So the goal
commander.
is to fight the targets that were sent to fight.
Exactly.
Obviously, Jindo can see more and understand more.
Yeah, like I think like the way I picture it is like I have sort of the bird's eye, but you're on the ground and you still make the choice you want to make. Like you could ignore me if you want to and do whatever you want.
Right, but I'm not in charge of the squad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right, so you could technically break off. You and David could break off, but generally speaking, that squad's going to follow the direction of the battle master, which in this case is like Jindo.
In general, unless something presents itself, breaking off is not a wise idea when the asset, the opposing force is much larger.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's what Jindo's idea is that like he knows Castian is not just another grunt like the rest of that squad, and get.
Sorry, David. He doesn't mean that.
David's a sergeant, but that was like my goal is to like give you enough clearance and cover to get you to that compound.
Okay, so that is still a goal.
I mean, I think so, right?
Yeah, I just don't know. Is there anything I could do to draw the people out that are in the compound?
I mean, no.
I don't think so.
Not on your skirmish
level. Not an asset that I can control.
Yeah, unless you're willing to fire a las gun into it, and that would be a big battlefield no-no. There's really nothing you as a single skirmisher could do. Right. You're just too small an entity on this chessboard to really affect that. But you as a squad can absolutely affect anything. A pawn maybe only be able to move one spot at a time, but it can kill anything. Or if we're talking chess.
Right. But again, I can't move the squad to an adjacent spot. So therefore I'm going to attack someone who's in my spot.
Right. And be in their spot. Yeah, kind of sort of.
Correct. So I'll be attacking, our squad will be attacking the squad that's there.
Okay. So I'm going to have you pick a guy, and let's roll some dice quick, and I'm going to have David do the same right after this, and then we're at time.
Their rolls at all, or?
Yes, it will affect their rolls. So, for example, you're attacking, so I'm basically rolling 2d20. Let's see how many successes we get, and from that we'll subtract 1.
Got it.
All right. 3 successes, so your difficulty is 2.
And what's our...
Your momentum is maxed.
Oh. So let's buy 2 dice then.
Cool. All right. That takes you down to 3. In this case, it will. Again, this is one, even though it's going to be a separate session, this is one big scene. Right? You're down to 3 momentum. I'm on 0 threat. All right. So go ahead and roll. 2 difficulty.
Only 1.
All right. You fail. You kind of see your opportunities, I'm going to say. Like, you pick this one guy out who's just kind of the straggler and looks like he's like important. Look like he might be like the assistant squad leader, and is just like kind of like the rough equivalent of Dune. What do they call that? Oh man, again, my English always fails me when I need it to be most eloquent. What's that? It's something shock. You're battle shocked. This is like a game show in the 80s.
Shell shock?
Shell shocked. Yes, the Dune equivalent of shell shock. Thank you, Danielle, for my English help. Yeah, so you kind of see this one guy who is he's a good target. He's probably he's like an assistant leader, it looks like, maybe, and he looks like he is discombobulated and it's not, and not really all there. But basically, as you approach him, you kind of do the thing where you kind of maneuver that point of that huge long sword, towards him to kind of, and this is a uh-oh.
I might as well use my determination.
Oh, you want to use your determination? All right, cool. Let's do that.
Sorry, that was me trying to find the rules while you're talking, and I'm just like, I'll just let him monologue for a little bit.
Thank you. All right, let's see how we do.
Now that I know where my target is, I'm going to spend my determination to reroll.
All right.
Because 4 dice with with one success is not very good, but I can just re-roll 3 of those dice, can't I?
You can re-roll as many dice out of the pool as you like.
So I will re-roll the 3 that didn't succeed.
That works.
3.
Ooh, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So you got some momentum back. Man, that just keeps it really is like a quickly moving pendulum. All right. Yeah, so
that's open.
Mm-hmm.
And is not sure where to go. And I think I managed to maneuver my way behind him so that, his focus is all messed up because he has, opponents on, probably 3 sides at this point. And use that distraction to, end up putting the, sword point like through his thigh, causing him to buckle and, bleed out.
Little femoral action there. Excellent. Yeah, he goes down like a scream, and I have to see it has to be like within like David's like eye shot, if you will, and he just sees that and it's like, oh my god, that had to hurt. And David, you'll be the last action of this session, so I'm assuming you're going to try to take down another person. Is that so? Just make this easy on your poor psyche at this point. I want to make it easy on you. You're hurting. I feel it. I want to get this over with. But I still want to give you this little bit of spotlight, and a little chance to do something because it's really important to me, and because you're important to me. So let's see. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to set some stakes real quick. It's going to be a simple dice roll. Again, 13, and 1 success is your difficulty. Go ahead and roll. And your target number is 11, as before.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with the 2 dice, the
Sure.
regular. So yeah, fuck.
All right, nothing. So that's fine. That's fine. So
I
which happens. That happens.
Wait.
Wait. Oh no.
Wait.
Oh, got another talent.
I used my
Holy
bolster.
crap. Gotta love talents.
I spend 2 points of momentum, and I'll allow Sergeant David to re-roll that.
All right. What does it look like in the fiction?
I think it's me coming to their side to support after just knocking down this one opponent, and herring them from the side to give David a better shot.
Excellent. All right. And what talent is that again?
Bolster.
Cool.
So I spend 2 momentum, and I'll allow the reroll.
Perfect. All right. Go ahead
and they can use discipline instead of their score. So they would actually get a little bit better roll, but not any better than what they did. So
yeah, so 3. So yeah, they had the 1 difficulty, so you made back 2 momentum. Again, so much pendulum swinging, but yeah, now you're back to maximum momentum, and you'll maintain that next session. Very cool.
Right.
All right. Well, that was action-packed. It wasn't as horrible as I thought it would be, right? Right. I feel like that meme with the Naboo theme. The Anakin and what's her face, Padme. Right. Yeah, I feel like that right now. But yeah, it wasn't so horrible. I think I see how they mesh a bit better, and I hope that my understanding of the rules is meshing with yours also, all of you, on these levels, and we're kind of figuring this out together. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the strategy level, the tactical level, strategy being Jindo, tactical level being Castian and David, and then that kind of, roleplay touch point inside with Anaya. And again, my hope is we're jumping around enough where everybody's feeling some spotlight. Because again, that you all know that's very important to me. I don't want you to ever walk away feeling like you could have not been here and things would have turned out the same. I want you to feel like you contributed, as long as you were, not gonna, Poor, I feel bad keeping Susan, so I'm going to really end this really quick because I have mercy in my soul, and I want to give that to her. So let's go. So excellent session. I had a lot of fun. As I kind of figured, it's going to bleed over into the next session, which is cool, which is fine, and it makes a whole lot of sense considering all that we covered. But again, remember that this is all of this probably took 10 minutes. What we've all done, and so there's that. But and I have to admit, this is the point where I miss a Power by the Apocalypse level of efficiency with that kind of thing. It would be literally 3 dice rolls in 30 seconds, and this would be all figured out. But I like the idea of the system, and I'm not going to monologue so much because I'm feeling merciful, but I like how these extra rolls give you as characters the ability to, or as players, the ability to show off your character's expertise. If we didn't do all this, we'd be like, oh yeah, Castian rolled well and he won, but whatever. But now we get to see holy crap, Castian is directing people on the battlefield, and it's becoming that much more impressive. And Anaya gets to figure out stuff just walking straight into the damn room, for crying out loud. Who does that? Anaya, that's who damn who. Jindo, we get to see the fact that he's really a strategist. There's a reason he's at this post, and we would not have seen that in this more simplified version. I hope you feel more powerful and empowered in your specialties right now. That was part of my goal, other than you being my sandbox to test this out. Anyway, that being said, always a pleasure. My players are awesome. They really rolled with the punches here, and I so much appreciate it, because there was a whole lot I threw at them, and they threw it back at me. But not like that, the chimp way with this poop or anything. But there is that. I'll edit that out of the final cut, by the way. That's never going to be there. It probably will. So on that note, let's say goodbye to our players. We have Steve over here.
Good night.
And we have Susan, who is just ready to shut down for the night. Tinkernome.
Yep, you can find me at Tinkernome on Instagram. And there may be some pictures of this little asshole. So
I hope so. Excellent. And of course, we have Danielle. Welcome back.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here as always.
Cool. And where can we find you?
You can find me at Raconteur on Twitch and Twitter, where I post about all kinds of nerdy stuff, and hopefully have some exciting things in the coming weeks, but I'll keep it a secret for now.
Ooh! I can't wait. All right, but I will. And last but not least, we have Jonathan.
Hey, I'm Jonathan. You can find me on Twitter at Jonathan Swadley. You can find me on the DMs Guild there as well, and on itch.io. Shadow Fae Guide to the Fae of Ravenloft is out on the DMG. So if you're playing anything in Ravenloft or anything with Fae, go check that out because it's really cool and it's got gorgeous artwork. So yeah, go check that out.
Nice. And I, of course, am ScottsCaseFiles, the channel you're on. If you're watching me on Twitch, think of dropping a follow or subscribe. Hit the bell to be active, to be alerted when I, go live and all that kind of good stuff. My social media stuff is in the about below. If you're watching this on YouTube, all that's in the description. Think of doing a subscribe, hit the bell to be alerted when I put out new material, which is at least once a week, like mostly twice a week, and check out those videos. Everything from actual plays to gemming tips and tricks and one-shots. Well, that's more actual plays. And, pointers on how to play various systems, which I played. Anyway, again, one more thank you to my players who are awesome. I will never stop gushing about them. They are the stars of the show, and I'm proud to say that. Susan, I hope you have a good sleep. You deserved it. You've really been a trooper this session, and I admire you. I'm here for you. You go, girl. So on that, get the hell out of here. Have a great night. Be good to each other. Be good to the world. Make positive changes to the world, unlike the Harkonnens, and go forth and do no harm. And we will see you next week when we, hopefully, in theory, figure out what happens with this whole 10 minutes, 20 minutes of actual in-game time. So take care, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.
Good night.
Bye.